Hello and welcome. My name is Jessica. This is going to be a pelvic floor practice. If you haven't already seen it, I have posted a video on a pelvic floor deep core breath work, which we'll be utilizing throughout this practice. So if you haven't already done that one, go back, do that one, get comfortable with that breath so that you can find the full benefit from this practice. With that said, our pelvic floor is part of our deep core system. And so some of the things that we're going to be doing today are going to feel an awful lot like core work, because it is, as well as our hip flexors and our inner thigh muscles, namely the adductors, the ones that bring your legs closer together, are integral in the pelvic floor system. Sometimes they often work together. And so we'll be finding some openness in our hips as well. And since we can find dysfunction from the pelvic floor muscles being weak, we're going to be working on strengthening those, but we can also find dysfunction from those pelvic floor muscles being too tight. So we will be doing some stretching as well. So we're going to get started finding your seat. We're going to go ahead and come right into that pelvic floor breath. So once you've found your comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you today, closing your eyes or softening your gaze, and taking a moment to notice, to feel into your breath. And then we'll start to inhale to expand. And use the exhale to contract. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. Inhale. Exhale. Expand. Contract. Continuing to find a few more rounds, flowing to the pace of your breath. And why this breath work is so beneficial is because as you contract, you are strengthening those pelvic floor core muscles. But as you soften and expand, your diaphragm is pressing down on your organs, and you're softening those pelvic floor muscles, and those organs are kind of smooshing down into the pelvis and helping spread and stretch those pelvic floor muscles. So you're already getting the strength and the stretch. And then we'll start to warm up our spine. So your next inhale can sweep the arms up. And the right hand comes down, left arm reaches up and over. Inhale to lift it up. And exhale to the other side. Inhale to lift. We'll interlace the fingers, bring the hands behind your head, open your elbows up wide. Grow even taller on your next inhale. And as you exhale, rotate your heart towards the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale. Exhale right. Inhale. Exhale left. Center. One more time, right. Center. One more time, left. And center. Release the arms. We'll come to a tabletop. Starting to move through cat-cow. Dropping the belly down as you inhale, arching the back as you exhale. Come to a neutral spine, separate the knees, big toes come together, and we'll push it back towards a child's pose, softening the chin, the forehead down. Breathing some length into your spine, feeling your tailbone reach back. And then as you inhale, go ahead and lift yourself up to your tabletop. We're going to extend the right leg back behind us. Bend the knee, starting to draw some nice big circles out in that hip. And just knowing that I do live in a rather noisy neighborhood, so if you hear dogs barking, banging, cars, it's probably on my side, not yours. And of course, if you hear the kitties, that's probably mine as well. And then we're going to extend the right leg back behind us, tuck the toes, start to push out through the heel, feel that length across the back of the leg. And then we'll lift and float that right leg behind us, just an inch or two up off the ground, so that you can feel your tailbone reach back and your core already starting to turn on here. And we're going to take an inhale, expand into the belly. And as you exhale, hug, contract. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. And then you can add movement. Inhale, expand into the belly. Exhale, contract. Maybe the back knee hugs in. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, option for that left arm to join in as well. Exhale, hug. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more times. Hug it in. Inhale. Go ahead and lower the hand, the knee. Find some cat-cows. And push it back towards your child's pose. Next inhale lifts you up, tabletop. We're going to release the left leg, starting to draw nice big hip circles. Reversing the direction. Already starting to find some openness in those inner thighs. And then extending that leg back behind you, tuck the toes, pushing out through the heel. Getting some length across the back of the leg. And then we'll float that foot just an inch or two up off the ground so the tailbone can reach behind you. And we'll feel into that deep core breath. So inhale to expand. Exhale, contract. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And the leg can join in. So on the next exhale, that knee might hug in. The inhale extends. And the exhale hugs. Continuing to move with your breath. If the right arm wants to come into the mix as well, it can join in. But noticing if you lose connection to your core breath. And knowing that you can always put the hand down, just keep the leg extended behind you in order to stay connected to your breath. Lower it down, tabletop, push it back, child's pose. And we'll inhale, lift it up, tabletop. We're going to extend the right leg back behind us. Bend the knee, open the hip, reach the knee up towards the sky, and then squeeze the knee up to the outside of the arm, the foot steps forward. And we can start to heel toe that foot in between the hands. If the hands want to come up onto blocks or supports to give you length in your spine, you can do that. We're softening the hips forward and down, starting to feel into that hip flexor stretch. Opening. And then we'll bring in our core breath. So as you inhale, expand. And as you exhale, contract. Hug the front heel and back knee together. Inhale, expand. Exhale, hug. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more times. And hug. Nice. We're going to start to shift the hips back, finding our way to our half splits. So that front leg is extended without locking out the knee. The toes are pulling towards you. The heel's pushing down and that right hip is reaching back, finding length in your spine. Inhale. And as you exhale, continuing to soften everything, lowering the heart. Inhale to find length in the spine. Breathe into your belly. Exhale. Lower the heart. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. And then inhale, bring it up. We're going to walk the blocks to the inside of that front foot and start to turn ourselves to the long edge of the mat. Excuse me, Jim Jim. So that right leg is extending all the way up to the top of the mat. I'm no longer mirroring you, so your leg might be extending that way. And the toes are pointing down. We're lifting ourselves up, shoulders over hips. Feel your tailbone soften down so the hip flexors, hip creases kind of flatten out and spread open. And then go ahead and extend the arms up. And as you inhale, expand into your belly, soften into your pelvis. And as you exhale, squeeze and lift. Fingers reach up. Feel your knee and your foot pull towards each other as all that energy squeezes up through center and up towards the sky. And then inhale, soften and relax. Exhale, contract, lift. Soften. Exhale. expand. So it might not look like much, but it should feel like a lot going on. Inhale. And then as you exhale, reach it over towards the right or towards your extended leg. Inhale. As you contract, reach it to the left. Inhale. And reach to the right. Contract. Inhale. Yes, buddy. And to the left. One more time, each side. To the right. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Go ahead and lift it back up to center. We can bring the hands down onto the blocks, and we're going to point our toes up towards the sky. Your hips are naturally going to want to kind of turn in that direction. We're going to kind of follow that natural inclination, just kind of pointing our heart towards the corner of the mat. So we're not trying to point our heart towards the toes or out in front of us, but at an angle. And you can feel your hips gently reach back as the heart softens down. We're starting to get into that inner thigh, medial hamstring. So just taking a few slow, steady breaths here. Does not have to be your pelvic floor breathing. Just softening into this experience. Stay here for a moment. I'm going to go feed the cat. Okay, if you hear some happy crunching in the background, that's what's going on. And that's definitely what he wanted. All right, we're going to walk the blocks, the hands back to center. We're going to turn the right toes back down so they're kind of pointing in the same direction as our heart. And you can move the blocks out of the way. And we're going to start to shift the hips back towards our back heel, kind of like we're coming into this funky one-legged child's pose. And that's really going to start to feel into that inner thigh. If it's not letting you get all the way down, you can just start to rock it forward and back, feeling into that sensation in the inner thigh. Or sometimes allowing your left knee to scoot out to the side a little bit or tucking your back toes helps you to kind of maneuver, give you some space to drop it back. And then inhale, lifting it up. Step that leg in, and we're going to push it back towards a child's pose, keeping the knees as close together as possible because we just had all that opening. So now we're going to bring the knees close together, get a little bit ease back into those hips. And then lift it back up to your tabletop. We're going to walk it back to the top of the mat. And we're going to extend the left leg behind us. Bend into that knee. Open the hip. Reach the knee up. Squeeze the knee forward. And step it forward. We can heel toe that foot inside the hands if that feels good. And then it can heel toe out in front of us as far as it feels good until you can feel into that hip flexor of the back leg. And then we'll start to breathe into this. So inhale, expand. Exhale, contract, hug and lift. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. Think about squeezing your front foot, back knee towards each other. Inhale to soften. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Nice. So we're going to start to shift the hips back, lengthening through that front leg without straightening completely the front knee. Oh my goodness, those cats. And then feel your toes pull in towards you. Push down through the heel and reach your hip back. Finding length in that front leg, and we're just softening in with our breath. So the inhale finds length in the spine, and the exhale can soften the heart down. Inhale. And exhale. And we're going to start to walk the blocks to the inside of that front leg and over to the long edge of the mat until our left leg is fully extended out towards the top of the mat. And then we'll lift our torso up, stacking shoulders over hips. Feel your tailbone soften down so that the hip crease kind of flattens out, opens up. And we'll reach the arms up. And as you inhale, soften, expand into your belly. Exhale, squeeze and lift all the way through. Soften. Push out that air. Soften. Squeeze. Soften. Squeeze. Finding a few more. So as you squeeze, you should feel your abdominal wall turning on, the pelvic floor muscles lifting, contracting, and then legs squeezing together. So you get that inner thigh adductor muscle turning on as well. So we'll inhale, expand. And then as you squeeze, reach over to the left. Inhale, soften. Exhale, squeeze up and over to the right. Inhale. Do you need help? Squeeze left. Inhale. Squeeze right. Inhale. One more time each side. Inhale. And right. Inhale. And we can bring the hands down. We're going to point the toes up towards the sky. Feel that natural turn of the hips to kind of point off at an angle. We'll follow that with our hands. We're going to start to soften the heart down. Feel the hips reach back until you feel that inner thigh stretch or medial hamstring stretch. Breathing into it. Just finding your easy, soft breaths. And then we'll walk the hands back to center. Bring the toes of that left foot back down to the mat. We're going to start to shift the hips back towards that back heel. So if that front knee wants to scoot out to the side, or you want to tuck the back toes, you might bring in a little bit more space. But as far back as you can, softening down. Or if staying lifted and just shifting forward and back, easing in and out of it feels better, you can do that. And then go ahead and lift it up. We're going to bring the knees close together and push it back for child's pose. And from tabletop, we're going to find our way up to standing. You can be at the top of your mat. And we're going to grab a block if you have one. You don't necessarily need one, but it helps to feel into sensation here. We're going to bring it in between the inner thighs. And we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up. And as you exhale, sit it down into your chair pose. Take an inhale, soften into the belly, soften into the pelvic floor muscles. And as you exhale, squeeze and lift. Feel your knees start to squeeze together around that block as well. Inhale, soften. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, soften. Exhale, lift. 2 more. Last one. And contract. Beautiful. Releasing the block. We're going to step the feet a little bit wider than the hips. And we're going to bring a block or two right behind the heels. Turning the toes out a little bit wider than the toes. My son has 2 pop-up tents. One is like a fire truck and the other one is a rocket ship. And for some reason, the cats are just finding them fascinating today. They're kind of wandering in and out of them. So if you hear rustling in the background, it's the rocket ship. All right, bring your hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders onto your back. Take an inhale, expand. And as you exhale, contract, sink down. Inhale, soften, expand. Exhale, contract, turn on your pelvic floor muscles as you sink. Inhale. Exhale, sinking as far down as you can. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And we're going to bring the hands to the hips. Maybe the hands come all the way down to the floor first, so you can watch your hips lower, but we're going to be bringing them down to the block. Taking a moment to sit tall here. Elbows can come to the inside of the knees, gently pressing them open, opening up those inner thighs, softening your shoulders onto your back. Spine is nice and long. If you would like to continue into building the heat and staying in some work here, you can float the hips instead of bringing them down onto the block. So whatever your preference is, whether you're ready to really soften into those muscles and stretch them out, or if you want to still build into some heat and strengthen. But we're finding slow, steady breaths. And we're going to find our way down onto the mat. So the hands are involved, doing it gently and slowly. We don't want any broken tailbones today. And then soles of the feet come together and the knees open wide. There's usually a sweet spot of how close your heels are into your pelvis. It's a little different on everyone. So feeling free to kind of slide your feet out or slide your feet in until it feels like, oh yeah, that's kind of where I feel a little extra openness, a little extra softness. And then we'll sit up nice and tall. And as you exhale, maybe starting to lean it forward, softening a little extra with the inhales and the exhales into those muscles in your pelvis, in your inner thighs. Taking a few minutes to just settle, to breathe into this space. And then we'll use the hands to draw the knees back together. Hands come behind you, feet separate, and we'll drop the knees side to side. A lot of external rotation today, so getting into some of that internal. And then we'll bring ourselves down onto our mat, onto our back, rolling it all the way down. All right, and once you're on your mat, go ahead and draw the knees in. Give yourself a little rock side to side. And then we'll drop the knees over to the left. Right arm can reach out behind you. Gaze can look back towards the right if that feels good. Breathing into the right side of your belly. Slow, deep breaths here. Continuing to allow everything to soften and release. And then we'll bring the knees back through center, gentle rock side to side, and the knees fall over to the right. Left hand can reach out, gaze can look left as you bring those slow, deep breaths into the left side of the belly. as you're ready, drawing it back to center, gentle rock side to side. Ending with a happy baby. You can anchor from behind your knees. You can grab the outsides of the feet, allowing the elbows to come to the inside of the knees. Feeling your shoulders spread or splay across the mat, tailbone reaching towards the earth. And bringing the feet, the knees back to each other. Go and find a full body stretch, fingertips to toes. And then softening the arms, the legs, wherever they feel comfortable for your Shavasana. Taking in a final deep inhale. Open your mouth, sigh it out, let it go. Gently bringing your awareness back to your breath. Allowing energy to flow through you on the inhales. Starting to bring those little movements into the fingers and the toes. Allowing those movements to spread and grow in whatever way feels good to you. Till finally, as you're ready, finding your way up to a seated position. Taking as much time as you need to get there. Coming to a place of grounding down through the sits bones, length up through the spine. Bringing one hand to your heart, the other hand comes on top. Sending that warmth and energy down into your heart center and cultivating a feeling of gratitude. Knowing that all that you have, all that you do, and all that you are always enough. Being at peace with all. Om Shanti Shanti. Palms come together. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through this practice. Till we meet on our mats again. Thank you.